Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you our Q1 review in our homeschool. And so if you like this kind of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a chatty video of me just going over kind of how this first quarter with homeschool went. I'll touch on some of the curriculum we use. I'm not going to go through everything, but just kind of highlights or maybe things that weren't working as well. So that's kind of what we're going to discuss here today. So if you want to be doing something or cleaning or, working on a craft or something while you listen to me, then go get that stuff. And we're going to start off by talking about science. We finished our geology unit from the Good and the Beautiful, and I can't say enough good things about the Good and the Beautiful science. Sorry, I have had a cold. I still have a cold, so if I'm super nasally and trying not to cough and runny nose, I'm sorry, but life has to go on, so here we are. So that's what, if you see that or my face all red, my nose red, it's because I've had to blow my nose, so I'm sorry about that. But I just really love the Good and the Beautiful science units. They are so good. And I love the fact that they have activities, but you don't always have to do all the activities. If you don't have the supplies or you don't have the time, you don't have to do them. But there's a lot of good hands-on activities, especially in this one. I feel like even the ones that don't seem like the units that don't seem like they should have a lot of hands-on activities do as well. But this one in geology had a lot of really fun things. One of our favorite ones was with tectonic plates. It had, at least this was one of my favorite ones. I don't know if it was my kids' favorite one, but they had graham crackers and frosting, and they used those to demonstrate how the plates move in different ways, like how they slide or how they might slide under each other and different things. And it was just really cool, and it was a great visual, and it was very simple. So I really like that. There's always so many things, and there's books that go along with it, so you can decide how into it you want to get. And then also just how much time you have on any particular day. And I really love these student journals. I know these are newer. I haven't done any of the 7th and 8th grade ones because I don't have any kids that are that old yet. Next year I will, but I don't this year. And so this is my oldest son's, but I just think these are so fun. They are, first of all, just super well done and have really good colors in them. And the activities are really great. There was one here where we went over the hardness and how rocks make streaks, what colors they are, and talked about different characteristics of rocks. There was a sediment jar here that's kind of hard to see, but we measured the different layers on 2 different days to see if they had settled at all, as we were talking about different types of rocks. So there's just so many cool things. Erosion was also fun. We did some things with sand and pouring water on it. It was great. We loved it. At least I really loved it. And I'm excited for the unit we're working on now, which I will review in the next quarter video. And so science was great. I really enjoyed it. And I just wanted to touch on our geography curriculum. We're doing our 50 states. And this curriculum has been great so far. I am not blown away with it, but I'm also don't dislike it either. I feel like it's kind of like history curriculum for me in a lot of ways, where it kind of it works, and that's it. Science, I'm blown away. I love it. I'm excited every day we get to do science. Geography, sometimes I'm excited, sometimes I'm not, but there are a lot of good activities and suggestions in here. I do like how it has read-alouds that go along with it. I'm looking around for the book. It's buried under something else. So we did read this book. They're a little bit different, or older books. I don't even know what you call them, because I don't know if I'd ever heard of this book. And it was a little bit interesting of a book to read it. It's from all these animals' perspectives, but it takes a place in Connecticut, I believe. And our first section was on New England. And then we're almost done with do they call them the mid-Atlantic states in here? So New York and Pennsylvania and all those states right there. So that's what we're working on currently. This curriculum, with us only doing it 2 times a week, would take us probably 2 years to finish. So that's kind of what I'm looking at as far as time-wise. And so we started another book. So we finished this one, and then we have started another book that is now going along a little bit with our mid-Atlantic states. And so that's where we are with that. Again, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's just one of those curriculums. It works well for what we need, but it's nothing crazy. I wish that all history and US geography and all those curriculums were like this. That's how I wish they were, because I just really love how the science from The Good and the Beautiful is formatted. So the next thing I was going to talk about is the other read aloud we did. So we were reading Rabbit Hill. We did start this book as well, The Towers Falling, and because we were talking about the Twin Towers with September 11th and doing some of Jessica from the Waldock Ways mini units on the Twin Towers. So we are not done with this yet. We're almost halfway through, and so we're working on this book right now, but we did finish The Giver, and this book was one that I read as a child. There's a cat that just darted across my grass. It's not my cat, so it kind of scared me all of a sudden. Anyway, and so I read this, I think I've read it twice before I read it to my kids, and it's a heavier book. There's, you know, some intense things in here in this like dystopia type of setup and everything, and it's a very interesting book to discuss and talk about, especially if you're a Christian, from a Christian perspective of talking about not having the ability to choose versus having agency and the ability to choose. So, you know, this community being set up where they don't get to choose a lot of things, everything's set up so it's kind of, here's your job, this is what you get to do. It's like a perfect world, but in so many ways it's not perfect. You know, it's like ideal, but not. It's very messed up. People don't have emotions or feelings. Like, it's just very strange. So it provides a lot of good discussion that way of what life would look like if you really didn't have the ability to choose, if it was all set up for you and this was your job, you were assigned it and all that kind of stuff. And so there was a lot of good discussion. I have not read any of the other books in this series, but I did grab them. So I'll have to let you know how it goes, because I honestly don't know how they're gonna be. If you have read the other ones, let me know, especially for kids, whether or not they're appropriate. Again, this has heavy topics, but even with my 6-year-old, we were able to talk about things and discuss them. So I felt like it was still really good and a very like interesting read for my kids. They were excited is a weird word for that book, but to figure out what happens and to see what happens next. So that was something that we did. We finished in this quarter, and I was glad, because I really want to try to get through more books. Sometimes we'll start a lot of books and we just don't finish them. So I feel like we're already off to a good start. So yay us. And the next thing I wanted to mention is we started the language arts level 3 from The Good and the Beautiful. My 3rd grader, yes, was finishing level 2 because he hadn't quite finished it last year. And then this one just came out, the revised version or a new version came out this summer, or the end of the summer, I think. So I picked it up and then we just started it maybe a month ago. And it's been really good. I've actually really, really liked it. So, you know, you have your book here, and then it comes with this little spelling book. So we don't use this every day, but it has spots for dictation. So there's some spelling rules they're working on, and then sometimes there's a spot for like a sentence dictation or just a few word dictation of things they might have been working on. And there's a few other things they can work on here. There's riddles, which my son loves. There's some different things like with sign language. So there's a variety of things. And again, we don't use it every day. We do use this book almost every day. There was 4 readers that came with them with this curriculum, and this is the first one. And I love the way that these readers are set up. They're kind of like the booster cards from the revised K first and second levels that they have, except they're not in the same format, right? They're kind of smushed together with a book and then the reader part, the booster card part. If this is making any sense, my brain isn't working. It comes at the beginning of each chapter. And so this, you know, has something they can decode, some words they can practice, which is why it reminds me of the booster card pack things in the younger grades, and which are new. They've only been out in the last few years. Or some words they can practice, some vocabulary they can go over. Okay, so at the beginning of each chapter it has that. And then something else that's amazing about this that I really love is the student So this section is student, so it's a little bigger typing and further spaced. And then this is the parent-teacher part, and that it's split up the whole time. So like this page, you can see student, parent-teacher, and then student over here. And so I really like that because sometimes I think in the past, some of the readers, it was all one, you know, and you might trade off or you might not, or the kid just reads it the whole time and it's just a lot. It's overwhelming. There's a lot of words. And so I love this format that switches them off regularly, but also has bigger words and bigger spacing for kids that are still learning how to read. So this has gone pretty well for us so far. I've really enjoyed using that curriculum. Okay, something else I wanted to mention is just language arts and math in general. We use the Good and the Beautiful for both. They're both going pretty well. We're about ready to switch to the next reading level or the next language arts. For my older two kids, they have been finishing up level 4, and so they'll be starting level 5 together. They're in different grades, but they're about at that same level there. So they'll be starting that one pretty soon. They're almost done. But then also my first grader has been doing this book. She mostly does it with her dad. And so we're still working through this, but I think she's getting to a point in that book where she can start going back through this one. We had tried last year when she was in kindergarten going through this, and it was a little bit of a struggle. And so we stopped and tried something different, and it worked a little bit better. So I think now she's ready to go back and start doing this a little bit, now that she's gotten a little bit more used to blending sounds and things because of 100 Easy Lessons. So we're gonna probably try that soon. Hopefully in this next quarter, we'll try to incorporate this one back in and just see how it goes. So fingers crossed that it goes well. And then the last couple things I wanted to mention were some of the things we do because of My Tech High, which is kind of a charter we're a part of, and they give us funds to use. And so one of the classes that we have for that is Exploring Technology. So all my kids are doing an Exploring Technology class. Well, my 4 oldest kids, obviously the little ones aren't. But we got a Cricket Joy, which is a small cricket. If you don't know what you're probably thinking of a bug if you don't know what a cricket is. But it prints things on vinyl, or it can print on paper, or it can draw things on paper as well. And so I used to have a big cricket, but I just didn't use it. It was so, like, I'd hardly used it. And it was so big and hefty. I really love the Cricket Joy. I should have brought it down to show to you. I kind of showed it in an unboxing, like a back to school video. Maybe in the future I'll show it. I just didn't think about it. I didn't think about bringing it down, but I did bring a project to show you. This looks like a school t-shirt. It's not. My oldest son picked a design that he liked off the Cricket. So we have some iron-on vinyl as well as some just regular vinyl that's permanent that could go on like a cup or a mug, you know, like something like this. Or I got black temporary ones for bats that we could put on our windows for Halloween. So they cut out a bunch of bats and put those up so that they could easily be removed. But he made this one, and this is a double layer. So he had to print the white and then also the red, and then ironed it on. And we got, you know, just a t-shirt, a plain t-shirt for him to use. And he loves wearing this shirt. My daughter has done a few on her like white pajama shirts, and they really loved it. So they've been taking some turns doing it, and they're always like, can I use the Cricket? They get really excited about it. So, and it's a little bit hard because I have to do the program on my computer and stuff like that. And if you want access to a lot of the designs, you have to either pay for them individually or pay for, like a subscription basically to the Cricket. Again, all that stuff's paid for through the charter that we belong to. And so I'm more inclined to do it all. Otherwise, I'd have to think about it really and see if we had the budget to do it. Something else I wanted to mention, I have a few things on this chair, is PE. We've been trying to do a little bit more like actively doing PE instead of just, go outside and play. And so one of the ways we've been doing that is yoga. And my kids have really liked, at least 3 of my kids have really liked doing I think it's Cosmic Kids Yoga on YouTube here. And it's really fun. There's lots of different stories that happen. There's, ones for holidays. There's some that are shorter. There's some that are longer. And they can just do yoga. We have some yoga mats, or they can go down on the carpet in the basement and do it as well. And they think it's super fun. And all the names for it are super fun. And then something else, are the stepping stones. Again, I talked about these, I believe, in a back to school haul that we got with, again, the My Tech High funds that we have. So these are different stepping stones. Currently, my kids have been using them outside, but it is getting colder outside. And so we'll be using them in our basement, like setting up different obstacle courses or things to kind of get them moving when we're all going crazy in the middle of the winter. And then another thing that they have tried a few times that I'm excited to do more in the basement is this. It's an obstacle course in a bag. So it has all these cards that have different things that they can try out. And one of the things that I've noticed with my kids being homeschooled is they don't always just know some of these things you'd learn in a PE class in an elementary school. And not that they have to know all of these things, but it's also just good to, you know, for your physical health. So there's a bunch of different ones in here. This is Superman's, there's squat jumps, there's tons of cards. This is not even all of them. And so we can set those up. You can time it, you know, have it as an obstacle course and see how fast they can go through doing so many, like 10 of them really well. Or you could just have them practice, you know, because they're not super great at doing all of the motions correctly right now. So it's a good time for me to be able to be like, okay, this is how we do it. This is how we protect our body, protect our knees, all these things. So those are some things that we've been loving and trying to incorporate more, and we'll use those even more as we go into winter, and it's a lot harder for us to get outside and play. All right, so that's the quarter one review of how our homeschool year is going so far. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below and let me know how your homeschool year is going. What's been so great about it so far? What maybe has been a struggle? I'd love to hear from you. And remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.